Well, we are on. We definitely, I think we're on.
I've got a blank screen. It says we're on, but the screen's blank. Might be my end.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, anyway, it says
it works.
It works. So there you go. We are on. Trevor, it's good to have you back, sir. And nice to see that Larry the Ladder in the back.
Well, what we're going to have to do, I've noticed the last couple of podcasts that you've been on, you're looking a bit scruffer. Now that we're actually going live, we need to professionalise this. Hence, you can see the ladder's dressed up. I'm dressed up. And I think the next one we really... Hang on. Bit of powder. And the next one, I think you're going to have to make an effort. And we're going to introduce some songs as well.
Okay.
Hang on, exactly. You've got to professionalise things. You can't put up with this anymore. Hang on a minute. Hang on. No. So, right, we'll carry on. So from now on, I want ties on, and I want you looking a bit dapper. Even the ladder's made an effort. So
you look like a Lib Dem.
I beg your pardon. What's your mouth out?
Or an SMP.
Sounds like one.
This is my finest D-dip attire.
Is that right?
D-dip, the Party for Democracy and Direct, whatever it was. I was in it. I was a chairman again, obviously. That was like about 3 years ago.
All right. Okay.
Something like that.
And is that one of your constituents behind you, Larry?
Yes, Larry. I've had to dress him up because you kept complaining about the ladder looking a bit odd. So there he is.
Okay. Well, all right.
So you can see him. There you go.
I want to talk about what's going on in Ukraine, but I want to start off with something that set the whole ball rolling.
Vice President Vance's speech to the conference has ruffled.
Just listen to this.
What did he say to ruffle them?
He was talking about the freedom of speech and migration in Europe. Do you believe
this is J.D. Vance speech at the Munich Security Conference?
Well, I heard his speech, and I tell you, you're talking about J.D.'s speech, right?
Yes, sir.
I heard his speech, and he talked about freedom of speech, and I think it's true in Europe. It's losing. They're losing their wonderful right of freedom of speech. I see it. I mean, I thought he made a very good speech, actually, a very brilliant speech. Yeah. Europe has to be careful. And he talked about immigration. And Europe has a big immigration problem. Just take a look at what's happened with crime. Take a look at what's happening in various parts of Europe. I thought his speech was very well received, actually. I've heard very good remarks.
Vice President Vance's...
So there you go, right? Now, that's President Trump being asked about his speech, and he obviously supports him. There's no two ways about it. So that kicked it off. Now, I don't know whether that pissed Starmer off, okay? But then we hear the news was Starmer said that they're going to put boots on the ground in Ukraine. Now, obviously, we all know that Trump was meeting Putin in Saudi. And Zelensky wasn't invited. And neither were the rest of the European leaders. They were sidelined. Now, I don't know whether they were looking through the windows of the palace, looking in, as if to say, can anybody hear what he's saying? Can anybody, or anything like that, But they weren't there. So what do you think is going on? Because I think Starmer's reaction is to try and take the thunder away from Trump in some way, some form or another. But, why would he announce that he's going to send our people through? I mean, we haven't even got an army to speak of. Please, come in.
Yeah, but when he said it, I mean, don't forget Starmer. He's desperate to become popular. He's trying everything because he's the most unpopular MP, PM, whatever he is, ever. Nobody likes a bloke. And when he said, we're going to put troops in a peacekeeping force, Did you see Macron? And the rest of them went, what? That ain't going to happen.
They didn't even know. And the German Chancellor just walked out on them.
Yeah,
Walked out.
So he's made himself even more unpopular over there.
You know,
He's an absolute classic.
but the thing is, how are they going to do it? I mean, we've got 65,000 troops. No? And they need to be rotated. There's only about 20,000 of them that he can actively put in. That's what I've researched and understood. And they've got to be rotated over a period of time. So that's 20,000 regurgitated over a period. That, you know, that isn't going to work. And you're going to put people in harm's way? Our people?
That's what he said.
Well, no. I mean, everywhere that I've read, every comment is, not my kid, put your kids in first. And Ed Davey, what an absolute tosser. I mean, I just couldn't believe that he actually turned around and said, I agree with Starmer. Yeah, that's, you know, I agree with Starmer. You know, we need boots on the ground. Well, Ed, there's no age restriction in the Ukrainian army. You go over. You go over. Let's see your boots on the ground over there.
Well, there's a surprise because you want to go to the Warrington Council meetings. The Lib Dems might as well be part of the Labour Council because they back him in everything they support, and that's in Warrington alone.
It's just absolute madness. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to sit on the fence or I'm going to.
I'm
going to play devil's advocate.
Devils.
Well, there's two things really. How do we know Trump hasn't said, by the way, Starmer, use a lot of putting troops in to keep the peace, and that's going to be part of my deal. And then my second thing is, well, then who is going to keep the peace? Someone's got to. They're not just going to be able to, we'll just go back to Russia and they just go back there and everything's fine, because that's not how it works.
Well,
so someone's got to.
Well, why did Germany walk out of the meeting with them? Why were they so annoyed by Starmer saying that?
Because I think Starmer's taking it. I've got a funny feeling here. Starmer's doing what he thinks or what he's being told Trump wants.
Well, Trump hasn't ruled out. He hasn't ruled out putting troops into Ukraine, which is a sort of if you like, a little backstop against Putin to say, look, you ain't going to get all your own way. And there's all sorts of conspiracy theories going on saying that Trump is now Putin's whipping boy. And you couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, they're trying that. They're just regurgitating that old failed nonsense they've tried for the last 8-9 years. Oh, it's so longer than that. It's boring.
I honestly cannot believe, the things that are going out. But to do that and to put our troops on Ukrainian soil is wrong. It's the wrong thing to do. I mean, they've already had so much from us. And he keeps on saying there's a 22 billion black hole. And yet we keep on finding money to send over to Ukraine.
Well, they will do before long because Starmer's already committed $3 billion a year until 2030 minimum.
Chicken feed compared to what America give. So
that tells you America why gave 115,
and that's
billion.
Why they're in control. They're the ones who want peace. No, everyone else in Europe wants to carry on until Putin's finished, which is never going to happen.
Yeah, but has America got this
the Americans have made
black hole that we've got?
Theirs is trillions and trillions. So it's what Trump says, basically. And if you don't do it, well, watch out.
Well, this is the reason for Doge, right? The Department of Government Efficiency, and why everybody is having a go at Elon Musk. I mean, for serious, because he keeps on finding money being wasted on different things. And if you look at some of those Senate hearings, the money that's being wasted in the projects that they're actually funding. I mean, our very own glorious political commentator who said that Kamala Harris was going to win, Rory Stewart, his wife was basically being paid $1 million a year to teach art to Afghanistani women. I mean, what the hell is all that about? And he's moaning. They had a contract. What? They had a contract?
Nah, it's all coming out. There's been some yesterday, some today. So we'll give it a few more days and then we'll do a podcast on that because it's going to end up the same as America.
Yeah.
Where they are just siphoning money off left, right, and centre for all this woke nonsense and they'll all be getting rich.
Taxpayers' money.
We had
taxpayers' money.
When
Free
Biden,
money in it.
Right, let the Lib Dem speak. Let the Lib Dem man speak. Go ahead.
Oh, you keep punching down, but I'm on the top on this one. It's a bit confusing, this is. Yeah, I just wanted to add about my gift that keeps giving, Ms. Abbott. Remember in America when you banned TikTok?
Yeah.
And Biden banned it, and then Trump came in. He said, "Oh no, you're not. We're having it back."
Yeah.
Well, she actually come out with a Starmer the other day. She said, "There's no way that you can ban TikTok in the UK because all the clocks had stopped."
She is mad.
She's awesome.
I tell you. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I cannot see any other way out. You've got a man there that actually wants to stop people getting killed. He's coming up with a solution. Now, all right, there may be something going on in the background that we're not particularly knowledgeable of. And, maybe we know as much as Macron and all the rest of them that was stood outside the Saudi palace looking in going, can you read his lips? Can you see what he's saying? And there were two teams in there, and it was, who was it? I think it was Lavrov and Marco Rubio, or, I think that was winning. Yeah, that was who was in.
Yeah, it's Rubio, yeah.
Yeah, and, they'll be sitting there and Zelensky will be saying, well, you can't have an agreement without us. Well, in actual fact, they've actually given away their right because they are not really truly in control because there are people still getting killed on the ground.
John, do they not with silly question, do they not understand? No, none of these people understand. Right, Russia are the aggressors. America are the ones who want to stop the war. So who are they going to speak to first? What's the point of speaking to the EU? What's the point of speaking to Zelensky until they've got Putin to stop?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what Ukraine...
No, you're right. You're right.
Vladimir Putin says, I'm not stopping. The war continues. So they need to speak to him. And then the Americans will get a picture of what they can and can't do. And Putin might be sitting there now going, you've got no chance.
Yes.
You've got no chance. So we're not going to find out for a couple of days, maybe.
I mean, what if Putin is really not the bad guy in all of this? I mean, because he did give them several warnings and they agreed that they would not encroach on certain countries.
Yeah, but it's still... Yeah, there's encroaching and you still shouldn't be invading other people's countries, should you?
No, I get it. But also there is another history there about those particular regions.
There is.
The island of Ireland still want to unite. The island.
It's funny you should mention that. So you're listening to all these commentators and they keep, when people say, I don't want any more.
What was that noise then?
I don't know. Don't want any more deaths. People don't want any more war.
Yeah.
And then the likes of Julia Hartley-Brewer will say, which part of England would you give away? I'll tell you what, I'll rephrase it. So Ireland invade Northern Ireland and they're backed by everybody in the world and they've got billions, right? And we're in a stalemate. And our sons and our daughters are dying over there, yeah?
Yeah.
And someone comes to us and says, I tell you what, make a deal, but you'll have to give away half of Belfast or something, you know what I mean? A little bit of the country and the war will end. Would you end it?
It's a good point.
Would you end it?
It's a good point.
Or would you end it until Ireland was finished? But they've got all the backing of everyone, America and then all these other countries. Would you want it finished?
But you're right. I mean, the first step...
I'll answer. I'd want it finished. I wouldn't want my children dying over there.
Well, the first step has got to be to get a ceasefire. Stop the fighting. And then people stop getting killed. Because a lot of sons and daughters have been killed.
Exactly. Hence why he's speaking to Putin, because he's the one attacking Ukraine. So the ceasefire has to start with Russia. And until there's a ceasefire, nothing will get fixed. So they can say, look through the window all they want and cry about, oh, America, oh, they're not going to defend us anymore. No. They're doing that thing again where they'll flip a situation and to totally miss out of context. That's not what's happening at all.
Well, they were
America are actually trying to stop war in Europe, not make it go on for 20 years.
And
these people are thick, mate. They do me.
And he actually said it straight out. He said, "You've got to deal with the enemy within."
Do you know that Vance speech? He had a cracking bit. He said, "Well, we know what you're defending yourselves from, but what are you defending yourselves for?
Yeah.
What you stand for?" He's like, "I thought we had shared values. No, we don't at all anymore. That's the problem."
Yeah.
No.
That's because we need to get rid of woke, and we need to get rid of DEI, and we need to get rid of all these lefty liberal views, which are saying, yes, bring in the migrants. I mean, what a lie. They said they got rid of, 19,000. They deported 19,000. And yet, Matt Goodwin basically proved that nearly 25,000 have come in over the same time, which was something that you said, Mark.
Well, yeah, it's not hard, is it? He had 1.2 million in a year, so that's 100,000 every month.
Yeah.
They've been in power for how many months?
And they've got rid of 19,000?
That's not even a fifth of 1 month's worth of immigration last year.
That's right.
And they've been in for how many months?
Do we believe them?
Who believes them?
Have they got that? Where's the documentation for 19,000?
Well, they stated it. It was a public statement, and it was put out by all the mainstream media in this country, i.e., those wonderful truth sayers, the BBC.
Yeah, and 2.2 million appointments they've sorted out in 5 months for the NHS.
I couldn't believe that he said that, and Rupert Lowe jumped on them straight away, and he called Keir Starmer the most duplicitous person. That's what he said.
I wish he'd just call him a wanker or something instead.
I mean, where's the evidence?
Funny, wouldn't it?
These figures. Where's the evidence?
Well, we don't know. We can't say it. It can't be proven. I've got a tendency to believe more what's coming out of America than anything over here in this country. Anything.
Well, I mean, look what happened. What Vance said before they got in there on about the first Islamic State. When he said it was a joke. That wasn't a joke.
The first Islamic State to have nuclear weapons
will be the UK.
Yep.
And
apart from Pakistan, obviously, but
that wasn't a joke. These are warnings. These are triggered warnings that he's sending to you.
Oh yeah.
He said something else. He made a point of saying your elected representatives must not be silenced. Yep. In other words, if people in your country are voting for someone, you can't ban them. You can't shut them up. You can't just do away with the whole AFD. No. You can't ban things, stop people from voting for the people they've voted for. So what you do? You can't cancel elections. Which country was it? Was it Romania or somewhere? Just cancel them all.
Yeah.
Just cancel them all.
Woke.
Because he didn't know what was going to happen.
Woke culture, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's dead. It's dead in the water, and you know it because everybody over here now wants a piece of that action. They're hearing it, and they know it, and they're fed up of that crap. And I think even the judiciary are beginning to realize, there's a problem. I just had one slight problem about, and it was a point that I noted about Russia. And they were talking about a particular, I can't remember where it was. I mean, I feel like, Alex Jones picking up on it. And it was a story from that gospel, The Guardian. Okay. And it was about a woman that was imprisoned because, believe it or not, there have been certain prisoners let out. And I think it might have been goodwill gestures, from the Russians, to Donald Trump. Okay. But here's one. You see, now, Russia's freedom of speech is not really that good because here's an example of it. Okay. Ksenia Karelina, a dual Russian-American citizen, was sentenced to 12 years in prison last year for donating just over $50 to a U.S. charity that provides humanitarian support to Ukraine. Now, that doesn't sound to me like a particularly, nice aspect of Russia. Okay? All right, they could be offended by her giving money, right? But she donated it to a charity that provides humanitarian support. I wonder, do they know whether or not she paid, a similar amount to a Russian humanitarian charity? But to get 12 years for that doesn't particularly put Putin in a very good light.
Not when he's dropping bombs and killing Ukrainians, it doesn't, does it?
No.
I'm all right to kill people, but don't you dare give money to charity, love. Otherwise, bye-bye.
Sort of echoing Britain, isn't it? You know, when you say hurty words and you get 4 years in jail.
Well, that's it. And I think, you've got to wrestle with the beast on that one. And I wasn't, when I read that point, I was thinking, okay. And they're attacking us for free speech. And yes, we do have a free speech problem in this country. Starmer frightened everybody. He frightened everybody and he tried to do everything. Well, now, Cat's out of the bag. Cat is definitely out of the bag. And he can't actually double down on things. Because if he does, he's not only is he going to be unpopular, but he is going to have, tools down in this country. People will just say, right, I'm not working. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to pay my bills. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And I think
general strike.
Yeah.
Now, I've just heard, and I think it's a rumour actually, I don't know whether somebody's just being a bit facetious, but they said that Russia and North Korea, they're setting aside special visas for people that want freedom of speech to move there from the UK. I think it's a bit of a rumour.
It's true. Kim Jong-un said it. He said it.
And he was just like... I think, what's his name? Putin might have a slightly ulterior motive to that. Get some more soldiers, I think.
Yep, possibly. And draft them into
everyone's
the army.
just trolling everyone here, aren't they? It's just like, I can't believe a word any of them are saying.
As long as they succeed in stopping the fighting first. It doesn't matter, okay? Europe are crying. I don't know why they're crying. I mean, so they didn't get a seat at the table. But, quite simply, America has looked at them and just said, you're a bunch of idiots. We're not going to have you there. And you can't do anything without us. And there was all sorts of threats, going on, saying, they'll pull out of NATO. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And then you get Starmer doing a stupid thing like giving away the Chagos Islands. Okay?
Well, that's not done and dusted yet.
No, it isn't.
Keep my eye on that one.
But listen to this. The Prime Minister of Mauritius, or the ex-Prime Minister of Mauritius, has just been done for fraud.
And arrested, yeah.
Yeah, and arrested. Right? And that's the guy that they were doing the deal with.
Yeah, they were giving the 18 billion to.
It's incredible. They're going to give him 18 billion, but they can't afford to give the word to fuel allowance to the pensioners in this country.
Well, they can afford it. It's just a political.
It's a political decision.
And you've got, like when we mentioned earlier on, they're putting boots on the ground and you haven't got enough soldiers. Now, we're toying. I mean, I was talking to Mark the other day about this. That they've been playing about with a European army for God knows how long. Literally a European army. And they'd have to get that together to get the standard British army, what we used to have. They'd have to have every country to put troops in to make it like the old army that we used to have.
I know. And you wonder why so much of our infrastructure has been run down over the past 25, 30 years. And that is political decisions. Political decisions.
Well, it isn't it? I mean, it's all started with the Tories with Margaret Thatcher when she's closing her mines, etc., etc. Basically just starting to grind the British industry to the ground.
Yeah.
We need a complete reboot. Never mind Starmer, we've got to redo this and redo
a reset.
We need a complete reset. We've got to start manufacturing again in this country.
Yeah.
You've got all the windmills that Starmer wants and all that lot. All being bought from abroad. Everything is imported from abroad. Start manufacturing again. Get apprenticeships. Get young people building again in this country.
They haven't, when they talk about, we're going to get, Angela Rayner's talking about, we're going to get people building again and all the rest of that stuff.
No.
Where's the houses? We haven't heard anything.
Well,
it's unbelievable. The crassness. Everybody's beginning to realize now they're all being had. They're being stiffed by this government and previous governments. And
it's all the governments, isn't it? I mean, but these have just come out with bigger balloons than the other governments have come out with. That's basically all it is. I mean,
you meant bigger bullshit.
Yeah, bigger bullshit. I mean, the builders, I mean, the people that are actually the construction, the construction companies, and two, the construction builders, and anybody that's an expert in that field have said, it can't be done.
Yeah.
It can't be done.
It's
You
got to
can
be.
tell everybody what you want, but it won't happen in this parliament.
What was that figure that you had, Mark? Was it that they needed to build at least 8,500 a week, 8,500 houses a week? Was it, or a month?
I'm going to be totally honest. It doesn't matter what the figure is. They're not going to do anything. These European leaders who destroyed these countries for decade upon decade are just. It's ironic, really, because now they're all seeing the backsides, but all the problems that have been caused are because of them. Now, their own populations have tried to warn them by voting against them.
Yeah.
And what do? They don't listen to the warning. It's shut the AfD up, or we'll try and do something, get rid of reform. It's the same thing whenever you go, have a go at Marine Le Pen. Now you've got the Americans on the world stage warning them all.
Yeah.
Your values are not aligning with ours anymore. And if they don't, we ain't going to, we're not going to protect you. Should we be defending you?
That's right.
That's a valid question, seeing as they're stumping up all the money. So all these leaders, we need a total revolution. We need to get rid of every single one of them.
Yeah.
And start again from scratch.
Trudeau's gone. Macron's about to go. All right. You know,
well, you've got German elections coming up.
Yeah. And they're going to lose big style.
Yeah.
They're going to lose big style. So it's changing. And the only one that's doubling down is Starmer with his idiocy. You know, nobody's going to back this guy. In fact, I think he has just killed the Labour Party. I think
he was dead anyway. Do you know what? He actually thinks he's doing the right thing here, doesn't he? He actually believes, if we get a peace deal, whatever, but we'll put the troops in and we'll. But as I say, no one answered the question: who will keep the peace?
Yeah.
Who will
America
keep the peace?
won't back it.
You put
it's
all
not in there.
Troops in. We get them all on the front. Sorry, Mark. We get them all on the front line. Hey, and 37 of them start marching to the front.
But who keeps the peace? We're still at that question, though, aren't we? So Trump says, right, okay, there's going to be, say he comes home this week, says, right, he's agreed to a ceasefire. Who's going to implement it?
The whole of Europe has got to bend. The Trump effect is in action. They've got to bend. And all this crap, this freedom of speech crap, woke, DEI, finished, gone. Right, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen over here. There is no chance that it will not happen. And you're going to start to see it happening in lots of different ways, which we are going to speak about on another podcast. Okay? A biggie that Mark's got. Okay? So as far as I can see, I'm happy that Trump has told the rest of them, get lost. Don't need it. Now, I don't know about Zelensky, but I think Zelensky had better not protest too much, because I think there's going to be some information let out about him. Okay? Because apparently, he's worth a lot of money. A lot of money.
He'll just disappear.
Boys, who would invite? Why would you invite them? They want the war to continue. Why would you invite someone to peace?
Oh, they do.
Who doesn't want the war to stop? I don't understand how they don't understand what's going on, because they're so thick.
Yeah,
it's plainly obvious. You want the war to carry on. We don't. So we're going to try and have a peace deal. So you're not invited. Hello.
Well, the only other reason why is simply because it's their country. But the decision that they're making for their country is killing more people on both sides. So if they want to keep the war going, that's it. It's just going to be more people going to be killed and more money wasted. And although one thing to say about it, they have some precious metal resources. Okay? They do. And also their farming capabilities, and the way that they produce wheat, it's massive. They are a big wheat producer. And you've got to say to yourselves, that's being killed, because if you've got nobody there to work it, but they've got a big army, supposedly. They've got 1.2 million active, and they've got 2.7 million in reserves. Okay, now, what happens if you start, killing all those people? You practically, even if you won, it would be a Pyrrhic victory, because we're the people to actually run things in your country. You've killed them all. All the young men, you've killed them all.
Yeah, will we ever get the correct figure?
Well, those are the figures that I've got that are actually put out by some credible people, and that's what they say.
No, sorry, I'm on about the people that die.
Oh, no, I don't know. I really, honestly, they're talking about there's maybe over 280,000 of the Ukrainian soldiers dead, and probably about the same on the Russian side, maybe less.
I've heard way more on the Russian side, possibly double that figure.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the North Koreans that have been sent to the slaughter as well. And he just keeps sending them over.
And I can't.
It's got to end, hasn't it?
It's got to end. You can't have loss of life like that at that level. You can't. Not in this day and age.
No.
It's wrong. We need to sort out. And probably Trump is the best one to sit down. I mean, because he's a deal maker. He'll sit down and he'll talk. And and if it's something that he can actually get in and understand, and he can get his head around and stop the killing, great.
People need to be realistic. But realistically, it's not going to go back to the borders before the war.
No.
But that's what everyone seems to think is the only outcome, is just to beat. What does defeat Vladimir Putin actually mean to these people? Does it mean just pushing them back out of Ukraine?
Yeah.
Do you think he's just going to not come back? Or does this actually mean defeating Russia? Because if that's what they mean, then this has got to stop now.
Yeah.
Because
it'll just
messy.
escalate.
That's messy. It's not just Russia. You've got all the other countries who'd be involved, and that is a third world war.
Agreed. And the other thing to take into consideration, remember now, in Ukraine, how do we really know that the Ukrainian people want that war? Because he's killed all elections. He's stamped on Christianity in the country. He's practically acting like a dictator. All right?
Which, to be fair to him, you kind of have to do in wartime. You have to.
Well, don't we normally have a unity government?
The means of production and stuff, which I'm really not keen on, because it's socialism. But when you're in a war, you've got to dictate what's going on. So you can't be there, can you?
Any other voice, though, Mark? All we hear is Zelensky.
Well, you will, yeah.
That's all we hear. We don't hear of any opposition leader, any opposition in the country. We don't hear anything. No. Usually at war, you have a unity government. If there is a war, there is a unity government.
Yeah, you have a cabinet, don't you, making decisions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're not getting that. You never hear that.
You never hear that.
There will be one, though, won't there? It's just, why would you be wanting to hear all that right now?
Because we don't know exactly what's going on.
I know, but if it was our country, would your priority be, let everyone come and listen to our cabinet meetings and our parliament and that, or can we just get this, we're fighting a war?
Well, all right. Apart from the high-level talks in the States, Trump has been one of the most transparent governments going. He sat down, he's explained the executive orders, and that woman, his press secretary, who actually does those press conferences, Caroline Levitt, God, she is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now try getting that here at number 10.
What, Lammy?
I know. I'm just talking about somebody, a press secretary, who will actually come out front and represent the government. Show me anybody in government that could do that here.
They haven't got anybody of that quality.
No.
They really haven't.
And she just states it as it is. She says it as it is. And she's actually speaking straight from the horse's mouth. So she hears it direct from Trump. And Trump actually says it. So everybody wants a piece of that action now. I think Starmer's struggling to get relevance. Who was it that said that before? I think it was you, Mark, wasn't it?
On mute there for a second.
He was like a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Actually, that could have been like during those times with the IRA where somebody said, okay, and we're going to go over, I'm going to have a quick quote from Jerry Adams. Do you remember that?
It's funny you mentioned the IRA, because at one point we were at war with them, and how did it stop? Did we destroy them in Ireland, did we?
No.
No, we didn't, did we?
No.
Well, where was everyone coming in at the time saying, whoa, no, don't talk to them, just go and destroy everything? There's only one way to finish this, and that's just destroy the IRA. Just destroy Ireland, really. That would have been the best way, would it? Yeah.
No, you're right. Okay, well, I think we've exhausted that conversation. So I think let's leave it there. And unless anybody's got any last words to say about it, Mark?
No, I mean, how long have we been talking about this for? It's got to end, hasn't it?
It's got to end.
We're still going to be. Is it going to be another Afghanistan where 20 years down the line, it's just going to end anyway?
But it
in
never ends.
Misery and crap.
It never ends well, does it?
No.
That's the main thing.
Last word on it from the glib Dom.
Well, yeah, the last. I've got a few things to say here just before we go because I've had the break, as you know, and I met 3 sisters. It was Anne, Jan, and Fanny. You see where this is going? And Anne and Jan, they went on a double date, and the date said, "Wow, you two have got big feet." And Anne said, "You should see our fannies; they're massive." And as you know, I've been out and about. And just been over to Thailand there, and I took a bus ride, a little trip. It was lovely.
Like that.
Yeah, and I was sat next to this most gorgeous girl I've ever seen, ever set eyes on. Perfect boobs, spilling out of her blouse, perfect legs, gorgeous.
You
face.
misogynist, you.
No, I know, yeah, but it was. I mean, that's just the way.
She was a very healthy, buxom-looking lass.
She was beautiful. She was pushed up right next to me on the bus. I couldn't get over it, and all I could think, I just don't get an erection.
Trevor!
Don't get an erection. And she did. That's just an observation for the last couple of weeks.
Oh, God, I'm getting off of here. That's it. Say goodnight.
Good night to everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for your time.
Oh,
I know how important it is.
oh God.
You've been messing with this lot. Don't forget, boys, get dressed up next week.
Yeah, dressed up.
Yeah, I feel underdressed now. Might wear my dressing gown next week.
Yeah, there's a thought.